So, what up, guys and gals? What up? What up? Anyway, this is a video of my new channel. Actually, it's really not new, I guess. I guess it is for YouTube. But this is strictly music channel. And I decided to do this because, as you know, quite a few years now, I've had radio shows, radio stuff. Graduated, 12 years ago from radio school, got a degree, and here I am doing radio stuff. Well, I tried to get a, job in radio, but they actually want Dallas is probably one of the top markets in the United States to get radio jobs. It's very hard and very competitive. So you either have those that have been in this market for decades that are established here, or they want very, very young people so they can give away T-shirts or whatever it is, show off their boobs, whatever it is they do, have voices like this. So it was very, very hard for me to get a job through there. So I said, I took an elective and I said internet radio and satellite is the future of radio. And sure enough, this was in 2007. Sure enough, it turned out to be true. Most people tend to go straight to satellite or internet podcasts, blah, 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 that sort of thing. So I started doing that. I have my own online station, Reverse Radio, Reverse 96 FM. You can find it on Google. Google it. Tune in. Reverse Radio at Wix. That's the website, wix.com/reverse radio. Search Ghost Getter. You can find me on there. Facebook, Twitter, just about everywhere you can find me on there. And this is a channel where we're going to talk strictly about nothing but music. Some people may like it. Some people may not like it. People may have an opinion of their own, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I have been involved in it my entire life. And I'll give you a backstory why. I grew up in a pretty poor area. At the time, Lower Price Hill in Cincinnati. Was born and raised, basically there. I was actually born in Over the Rhine, which is not a very good neighborhood at the time in 1970. So, and I moved to Lower Price Hill when I was older, or when I was younger, around that time after I was born. It's a long story of why. I may get into that one of these days. Who knows? But I lived there in that area up until Western Hills, Lower Price Hill, so on and so forth, up until we moved here to Texas when I was a teenager. And one thing that always astounded me, something that always was into, was music. If it wasn't for, there were so many things that got my memory going, that kept me going, because, when I was younger, I was always bullied. So what I would fall into was either to get my mind or get out of it, so I didn't have to think about it, all the bad that was going on, or everything that was not the greatest growing up. Not everything was perfect. But what got my mind off of it was either the Bengals going to their spinny field and their practice field. It was either the boys club, which is up on the hill, which was one good thing, or it was music. And to escape, music was probably something that was, in the most part, one of the things that we escaped to, all of us did. And it was, and what's so interesting is, even to this day, when I hear certain songs that go back to the 70s and everything, I always think of Lower Price Hill and growing up. music like anything that's ELO or Baker Street. Baker Street is probably one of the biggest ones, or Main Street, Bob Seger, things like that. So I created my own radio station where I try to bring back the past, go almost like a time travel kind of thing, where I play music from the 60s or the 70s, 80s, and 90s. One of the greatest generations in music, 70s, 80s, and 90s. I wouldn't say because everybody has their own opinion, but for me it was. And I'd play sometimes news reports, news updates from that year or from that decade, or trailers from movies, or old commercials people forgotten about. Just anything I could find that's interesting to throw in there. So this is one of the things. It's my dream. It was always my dream to do so. I haven't talked much about it because I would always hear things like, you realize they don't pay much, and you realize you move from state to state and city to city. I'd always hear negative things about people that work in radio stations and things like that growing up. But then I decided, you know what? Who cares what they think? So I started doing it on my own and went to school for it and so on and so forth. But Mark Sebastian, for those who've grown up in Ohio, Cincinnati, remember those. He was an idol of mine growing up. Casey Kasem was an idol of mine growing up, and a few others. But they really got me into that because that's all I've done, from acted like I was my own DJ, reading ads from phone books, playing 45s and things like that when I was 10 years old, and with a record player playing 45s, acting like I had my own radio station or radio show or whatever. And been doing it ever since. It is a passion. It is a dream. It is something that I always loved to do. I've studied music. I've learned so much about music. I've got so much information in the noggin about music. It's not even funny. So I go through all kinds of things when it comes to music. Of course, I hear, what's the point in doing that? You don't get paid for it. And, you know, it really doesn't matter when it comes to a passion or something like that. When you really love doing something, it shouldn't matter, because if you think about money first, then it really isn't a passion, unless your passion is just money. And then basically you're in the wrong business. So unless you own an empire franchises of radio, and it's something that I've been wanting to do. Of course, I said that for a long time, ever since I was 10. One of the other things I was going to bring up is Wheeler, the school I went to. I've got part of my headphones that's coming apart. Wheeler, went to school there most of my childhood, if not all of it. But one of the things I was going to bring up is one of the teachers there, tutors and teachers, for having the highest grades on a test once, gave me an option of going to McDonald's or a music studio, recording studio. And I decided to pick the recording studio, and ran into, today known as Rick Ocasek, in the recording studio. For those of you who don't know, they're mainly from Ohio, even though they did their stuff in Boston. They started out in Ohio. And it took me a long time to research it, because I'm like, I was a kid, I don't remember, but I know the guy was name was Rick, so that's another story. It's on my YouTube channel, other YouTube channel. But that's one of the things that really pushed me forward to become into music and things like that. So, and as I got older, I said, you know, there's a lot of people in Wheeler that don't have an opportunity to be somebody or do something with their life and be successful when they get older. And I said that's a cop-out, because you can do whatever you want to do. You can be whoever you want to be. You can grow up and follow your passion. And it doesn't have to be about money. I've met some great people that went through years of college just to do social work, be a social worker. And it didn't matter to them. That's always what they wanted to do. So to me, that's the most successful thing you can do, is follow what you always wanted to be when you were younger. And those people, I've seen a documentary way back when where it was talked about the principal at Euler and things like that, how he was struggling to keep people in school and all this stuff he was going through. And I thought, any one of those people can do whatever they want to do and grow up and be successful. And you don't have to think that this is all there is in life and you can't get anywhere in life. And this is it. Music was my passion. Music was something that I always wanted to do. And finally, as I grew up, I said, yep, this is it. And this is what I got. And this is what I'm following. And so far, and I've met a lot of people through this business of radio. A lot of station radio hosts, a lot of people in radio, especially here in Dallas, so on and so forth. Conventions. I met a lot of people when I was doing paranormal radio shows and things like that, where I was combining the two, music and paranormal, on a radio show. I got hundreds of radio shows where I've met people that were famous in this field, which I don't talk about much, musicians and things like that. So, yeah, for years I've followed and dreamed, and this is all we talked about was music and things like that, and that's something that you can do as well. And I've always said that to people that have gone to that school and lived in that neighborhood who think that this is it. It is not it. It has never been it. You can do whatever you want to do, and you don't have to listen to the negativity of what people tell you. So, and I have it, and you shouldn't do it as well. Just follow whatever it is that you dream to do, and be persistent, be determined, and never say never, and never say no. Every day, it seems like I go through so many things. When I listen to songs, I'll listen to the tones, I'll listen to the beat of it. I'll think, what makes this song good? Is it the lyrics? What exactly does this make this band who they are? There are those bands out there I really particularly don't care for, and most people will argue with me and get angry about it. I have before. I've gotten into blatant arguments over certain bands and certain musicians, which on this channel eventually we'll bring it up. Everybody has their own opinion, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just keep it at a level where you're not going to be insulting or threatening or vulgar. That's not what I'm asking for. So don't do that. So anyway, in my studio with my degree, I have these hanging on the wall, if I can show it to you. This one is one of the records that I've been playing when I was 10 years old. This is the Eddie Rabbitt, I Love a Rainy Night. And my brother wrote on here, number 1, February 1981. And that was around the time I was 10, 11 years old. And I can't focus it on here. You just have to take my word for it. But anyway, this is the record, one of the records out of a stack that he used to play when I was 10. This is the actual record, the actual 45. It's hard to believe I still had this, but I did all these years. And this is another one that I still play, or don't play anymore. But I used to play this, and this is not a remake. This is an actual real record that I used to play when I was 10 years old. And this is The Police. Every little thing she does is magic. And believe it or not, I remember I walked across the street or down the block, bought this record, I believe, for 99 cents, and played it, that and the other one, plus many more, which I still have quite a few of them that I played when I was 10, and I wore them out. I mean, I wore these records out like nobody's business. And I didn't think I had these anymore, but my brother had them in storage, and I found them, and I thought, wow, I can't believe we still got these. And this is probably the only few things that I have left when I was at a young age. I don't even have many pictures. So I thought that was interesting. That's why I took it and framed it and put it on the wall of my studio, which I thought was pretty cool. So I still got a bunch of records, 45s. I got everything in my studio from, I got my Bengals autographs, my Bengals flag. I still, I live in Texas, but I'm always going to be a Bengals fan. I got my Bengals shrine with my autographed football of Joe Mixon and Ickey Woods and Reggie Williams and so on and so forth. But I believe that's what it is. I can't see it from here. But anyway, and so many other things. I got Guns N' Roses poster behind me when I went to see them in San Antonio a few years ago, and there's the ticket. So many things that have to do with the studio, music and movies. And by the way, I was going to mention it. Sometimes I'll bring up movies on the channel because music has a lot to do with movies as well. Soundtracks and everything else. You can't find a movie without playing music. You tell me where there's ever been a movie that didn't have music on it. That could be one start we talk about on here. One start you can put in the comments section. Can you tell me if there's any movie out there in our history besides even ones during the silent talkies, before the talkies, didn't have music? Any movies that didn't have a soundtrack or music to it? I can't think of any. If you can figure it out, put it in the comment section. But anyway, I got that. I got my big giant panoramic photo of downtown Cincinnati. And here's something interesting. Bet you don't know this. Well, of course you don't know it because you didn't there. But I got my Burger Beer. It's empty. Display can for my studio as a reminder. And this is cool. I got a brick from one of the buildings when I was born in State Avenue. Raised in State Avenue, 8th and State. There was a building next door to ours, and the building I lived in is still there. It's the only building besides a friend of mine that lived on a corner that still exists, that's still standing. This was the building right next door when they tore it down. My brother brought back a brick from the building that was right next door and was pretty much touching it. When they tear down that building, which they haven't yet, maybe they will. They haven't yet. I will try to get a brick from that, but they haven't torn it down yet. So anyway, enough of boring you. This is the music channel. We're going to talk about different things like that. We'll talk about stuff in the movies once in a while, maybe commercials, whatever. But it's strictly a music channel for yous out there. But we're going to talk about that, and that's what this channel is for. So I appreciate everybody checking us out, and hope you can like, share, and subscribe. Definitely subscribe because we're going to be talking a lot about that stuff. So many things keep popping up. So many things keep happening, especially over the last couple of weeks with Dusty Hill dying and so many other people. So we're going to talk about so many different things and just add it. Please add it and subscribe to it. And my other channel is strictly about paranormal stuff, so it may not interest you as much. So please subscribe to it, and I appreciate everybody coming here. And until next time, hopefully real soon, we will see you later. Oh, and by the way, Reverse 96 FM, Google it, and I'll also post the links down on the bottom so you can find it a lot easier, okay? See ya. Hey everybody, don't forget to check out Reverse 96 FM on TuneIn, Streema, and now internetradio.com.